Hi everyone, Susan Walker here. I am your instructor and the course designer for FSOS 3105, Families and Technology. This is a very brief course introduction over the content and the activities in the course. So this is the seventh time in the fall of 2020. This is the seventh time the course has been offered. I have it every semester since the fall of 2017. I designed the course over that summer in response to what I felt was a real need for undergraduates to have a course related to technology. As we all can see from our use of Zoom and our use of Canvas and learning management systems, the importance of technology in our lives. And it's especially important for me to have you all be very critical thinkers about the role of technology, not just in your own life, but in your lives as professionals. And for those of you who are going to go on in your professions to work directly with families or indirectly with families, to have an understanding of the role that technology plays in family life. And as you can see from even these slides, we have a variety of perspectives about the use of technology, pro and con. So in this course, when we're talking in a very shorthand way about technology, what I mean by that is also known as information and communications technology, or ICT. We have examples of that in terms of the internet, using social media, Facebook, TikTok, programs like that, various applications such as on your phone using digital media, devices, your phone, the hardware that is on your phone, the software that's on your phone, your laptop, your tablet, augmented reality and virtual reality, video games, learning technologies, including our own use of learning management systems such as Canvas. When we're talking about technology, what we're not talking about in this course are other forms of technology, because if you think about the word technology itself, it really means having a novel tool to do something more efficiently and more effectively. And so we can think of all kinds of technologies in our lives: our cars, our washing machines, voting machines, guns, MRIs, CAT scans, you name it. So our whole world around us is filled with technology. So in this course, we're thinking about information and communications technology, as many of the kinds of things we're going to be talking about do have to do with communications and relationships and learning and the acquisition of information. These are the course objectives. You can come back, you'll have the slide set. These are also in the syllabus. You can take a look at them. I've highlighted in red some of the key words. First, to assess and understand our personal use of technology and understand from a standpoint of pros and cons how it can benefit us and also ways that it can challenge us. To gain knowledge about how information and communications technologies impact family relationships, the family being a unit and the individual members' development and well-being. To gain a critical lens to reading research and trends on technology, device use, and impacts in contemporary and future society. To gain and express a contemporary understanding of the science of technology applications in family life, from use in intimate relationships such as dating apps, texting between couples, family communications, our family structures and family settings, and through applications for formal and informal learning, and through topics that relate to family well-being, such as healthcare and financial management and decision-making. And then finally, to gain and express a contemporary understanding of the science of technology applications in family practice and research, and the needs of pre-professional and professional development and support for competent use. It's very important for me not to just focus on the family, but to also remember and regard that the majority of you in the class are pre-professionals and ongoing professionals with regard to working with families. And so they're very critical needs in terms of professional use as well. I wrote a paper back in 2015, 2016. You'll read it at the end of the course, but I look in a very ecological, very systems way. And so we're going to basically unfold the course in that same sort of systems perspective. So the majority of our course will be on technology use by individuals and families and the impacts on the family members. But in doing that and understanding that research, we then see that for practitioners, technology becomes both a content area. So if there's a couple that is having conflict over, she is using social media and broadcasting a lot about her relationship, and her partner is not so keen to have the social media used that extensively, that potentially could be a conflict. So that's a content area. On the other hand, if a family therapist has to go online, certainly such as during COVID, to deliver service, to deliver therapy, that's a way that technology is used in the delivery of service to families. And if we think about then that professional, we can think about what skill and what level of comfort does the family professional have in both incorporating technology as a content area, but also in terms of using technology in their practice. And then finally, at an even wider level, is to think about who's supporting that practitioner. So if you want me, for instance, as a family professional, to be skilled in using Canvas, to have knowledge to teach a course like this, a good question you could ask is, what are my professional organizations? Or if I was a student, who is preparing me to do this kind of work? So again, I see this in a very ecological, integrated way. The majority of the course relates to this idea about use of technology in family life. So we begin the course with our first module or our first section related to technology use in contemporary society, sort of the history of our technology use, and especially the impact on us as individuals. And then we move to our understanding frameworks for applying our research understanding to families by looking at some theory. And then, as I mentioned, the majority of the course from modules module 4 through module 10, 10, is our looking at the research related to the formation of families through dating apps and couple communication, through the impacts on children and on teenagers and adolescents and emerging adults, to the use by parents, to the use in parent-child relationships, the use in families, and the impact of technology related to work and family balance. We'll also look at technology related to family well-being in terms of health and financial management. And then, as you can see in this gray area towards the back end of the course, then we'll focus on the application in family professionals. So our interest in this topic is very much rooted in critical decision making and critical thinking when it comes to the current research related to technology. What we have to avoid is our either myopic or very anecdotal view of technology, which a lot of people will do, and say, oh, it's wonderful because it benefits me, or it's destroying a generation, such as the article that you see here on the left side of your screen. And so as we go through, a big feature of this course is going to be posing pros and cons, doing a lot of flipped decision making when it comes to, well, this part of the research says this, but what about this? Because quite honestly, the use of technology by families and within a family household is very much of a personal decision. And for that decision making to be done, there are no clear answers in a lot of ways, and this puts an additional strain on individual families. And so it's important for me, as I'm working with you, to help you be good critical consumers of the research so that you too can sift through it to make good conscious decisions. And, you know, our interest in technology is also very much shaped by our current reality with COVID, which none of us could have really predicted. And as we look forward, certainly many of the innovations that we have now in our lives were a minor casual thought by somebody, say 10, 20, 30 years ago. So one thing we definitely know about technology is it constantly changes, and and as it changes our own lives. And so again, back to our idea about critical thinking, a lot of, when in my design of the course, I do use Bloom's taxonomy for learning. And so it is far more important for me that you do more than just simply remember facts and understand concepts that I will test you for in tests, right? But also that you have the ability to apply concepts in our activities in class, to analyze through debates, through decision making, things like that, that you're able to evaluate and possibly even create. These are much more sophisticated ways of using your brain. So really, why not? So a little bit about me. You see some pictures of my family and my friends and some of my activities. So this is my husband and daughter in the upper right. My daughter's name is Alice. She's 27 and she lives now in Chicago. If any of you are from the Highland Park area of St. Paul, that's where my daughter went to high school, Highland Park High School. And that's my husband. We have lived in Minnesota since 2007. So this is our 13th year in the state. Before this, we were at Maryland. I taught at the University of Maryland, College Park, go Terrapins. I've also gone to school at Penn State and the University of Wisconsin, and I taught at the university or Michigan State University. So little by little, I'm hitting all of the top 10 schools. On the left over here is my beloved dog, Audrey, and sadly my cat, Oscar, who passed away in March. But Audrey is still with us, and she's 14, and I guarantee you will continue to hear about Audrey. And on our Zoom calls, if you listen very carefully, you'll probably hear her snoring. I always have an Oscar party. That's the middle picture with my friends. I'm big into movies. So if you ever want to talk movies or TV shows or streaming, or what's good about this or anything, I am your woman, and I love, love, love always getting new ideas. That big picture of white women down at the bottom is the Twin Cities Women's Choir, of which I am a member, although if you sing in a choir or you are in a band, you know how hard it is to do that at this time. In the bowl over on the right is from Spain, and that just represents my love of travel, which I haven't been able to do this year, obviously. So, and I am really looking forward to getting to know each and every one of you, and we're going to try our best with our virtual format to do that. So also where I kind of come into this class is that as I mentioned, I have been teaching with technology for my entire 30 to 40 year career in academia and in teaching. But starting in about 2005, I was an early adopter to put a classroom course online, and did that. And then from 2007 till about last year, I was the director of the Parent Education Preparation Program in our department in Family Social Science. And that's a completely online master's and teaching license program. So I am very comfortable using a lot of technologies. And then my research has involved researching technology use by parents, also looking at technology use by family education professionals. I've also designed technology. I've designed a platform for the Early Childhood Family Education Program, and this month and kind of ongoing, I provide a lot of support for family educators out in the field and now very specifically about their own adoption of technology in their practice. So I have a lot of teaching experience with technology. I also do a lot of technology work in my own practice and my research. And so this course is kind of an intersection of those two. And that's where you fit in as a learner and as a future professional. And now, more about you. Again, in our crazy format, I'm going to do what I can so that we all get to know each other better. I am huge. Anybody who's had me in class before will tell you that I'm a very community-oriented, relationship-based teacher. And I firmly believe that as learners, we all learn better when we are in contexts that feel supportive and more community-like, when we feel comfortable and we can trust our setting and we feel comfortable to talk, right, to explore, and also when we know each other a little bit better, and also in a more relationship-based way of teaching, we also understand each other's emotions better. It allows me to know you better as an individual, to kind of know what you're going through. So we're just going to do our best. This course traditionally is a face-to-face course, so we're going to see how we do. I did send you a link to a survey. Thank you. Most of you did send it out, fill it out, so thank you for doing that. But it's also, the link to it is also available on the Canvas site, and I'll leave that up for a while. Our first activity in our class is I'd like you to do an introduction of yourself on Flipgrid, and that is available on in the Canvas site as well. And then, because there's so many students in the course, I'm not going to ask you to respond and view every single of the videos. Please do, if you can, but to at least 5 people. And so those other 5 people would be the 5 people who are in your group. So if you're on Canvas and you look under people, you'll see that you've been assigned to a particular group, a color group, red, yellow, green, such. And so find the other 5 people in your group and please view and respond back with a, hi, it's great to know you, whatever, on Flipgrid. Okay, so if you could do that. So again, students have been assigned to groups by color. So that's the first thing I'm going to ask you to do. And now about the course. The course meets Tuesday and Thursday from 1:30 to 2:45. And yes, even though it will be exclusively, entirely online, probably, we will just keep on your calendar the same thing as though you were coming to the classroom, 1:30 to 2:45 every Tuesday and Thursday. If we don't have a Zoom session or a classroom session, I will let you know. I will tell you right now that on Election Day, on November 3rd, we will not be meeting because I want you to have that day for voting. Or if you're going to be working at the polls, then you'll have the day to do that. So there will be no class meeting on November 3rd, but all of the other times, unless otherwise, we let you know. Okay, please go to the Canvas site. I use it very, very heavily, and I will use it very heavily, especially now if we are almost all online. And on that Canvas site, as I mentioned before, you'll find the readings, you'll find any additional materials, you'll find the syllabus. Grades are there. There is a link for messaging, all announcements, and any other resources that you're going to need for learning are also going to be listed on the Canvas site. And then out of class time, I'd like you to, spend your time reviewing the slide sets, doing the readings, the written work, because I would prefer that our time together in Zoom is spent more for active participation and discussion. I really do not plan on lecturing during those Zoom times. I'm going to depend on you to have reviewed the content. Certainly, if you have questions, we'll talk about them then, but just know that you're not attending an hour and 15 minutes of sitting at your computer while I lecture. I can do that through videos. You can watch those lectures separately. The general course overview. There are exams. There's 3 exams. Of course, they're all online. Each is 50 points, and they're not cumulative. There is a final exam, which is, again, just a third exam, and it's not cumulative, that will be offered, I'm thinking about December 17th or 19th, but it's whatever date the university has told us we have to have it. It's on the calendar. There are reading quizzes. They're just about every week, and there are 10 of them. They're worth 5 points. Each one will be open from 11:59 on Thursday, or essentially from Friday through Monday. So you'll have 4 full days. To do it, you get 2 tries, and they are over the readings for a particular week. The first one coming up is for no points, but it is a practice one, so you get in the groove of the when they open, when they close, what they look like, format of the questions, things like that. Okay. The other thing is we have 5 blog posts, so you will keep a blog in this course, and there are the posts are also listed in the calendar post times, and you will respond to prompts. And each prompt is related to content for that particular section. And there are lots of prompts. So you don't respond to all of them. You just choose one. So the idea is that you're writing a thoughtful blog post, a critical thinking post, weighing pros and cons about a particular issue that relates to course content at that point in the course, early, and then through, and then to the later part. Okay. And then finally, the paper in the course is a personal technology log and analysis paper, in which there is a grid or a table that you can use, and I'll ask you to track your technology use for a 12-hour period at least on a typical day. Not on a day you're sick or on a weekend or something like that, but a typical day. And to do a summary of how much time did you spend on different applications, for which purposes, things like that. And then write a 3 to 5 page paper that is an analysis. And I have some prompts that you can incorporate into your paper. But I'll have another explanation video about that. But that's also on the docket. So 3 tests, small little baby reading quizzes, blog posts about every 3 weeks, this technology log and analysis. And then the final thing is class participation. And it's worth 35 points. And I think I have the next slide talks about that. Oh no, sorry, we'll come back. I have more explanation about it. But this shows you a breakdown of how the points are broken down in the course. And then finally, when I was mentioning about class activity. So the way this works is this. I believe in flexibility, and certainly in our current time with the crazy stuff we have going on, flexibility is especially necessary. I also don't like taking attendance. Okay, I figure you're adults and you will do the course as you can do the course. And I respect that. That said, because I am very much of a community-based teacher, I really want there to be as much participation as we can on Tuesdays and Thursdays when we meet. And so I have a variety of activities throughout the semester, and we'll ask that when you participate in those activities, right, then I'll give you a check mark or complete in the gradebook. And then if by the end of the semester you have 10 completes, you've participated in at least 10 of those activities, you'll get the full activity points, or 35. Now, there will be many, many more than 10 activities. Most I already know of, some I make up on the fly, just depending on kind of what's going on. But just know that you'll have more than 10. And so if you miss a day, if you sleep through class or whatever, don't worry, you've got more opportunity, okay? The way that I know that you've participated generally will be because your name will show up on a document that we're doing. So it could be a Google Doc and we're doing small group work, and then your name will be on that document. And so then we'll review all the documents, see the names, and then go to the gradebook. So that's kind of very generally what that's about. So it's a very flexible kind of thing. That said, it also encourages your participation. The very first activity is the introduction on Flipgrid. So that's more of an individual activity, but that's one that you'll get credit for if you can do. Okay. And our very first activity in the class, our group activity, will come in on Thursday. And so because I know that you're amazing, and the students in my previous sections of the course have been amazing, I know that on day number 2 of the course, I can ask you to do a debate. Don't worry about researching, having notes. A lot of this is just logic. A lot of this is just based on what do you know, what has your experience been. But I'd like us to think critically about the use of Zoom. Okay, I'm sure a lot of you have been using it in your classes. You're certainly using it in this one. And so this is the prompt. Given recent need for social distancing in college courses, many have needed to hold class over video conferencing, such as Zoom. Using such tools in place of in-person interaction is an effective way to learn. So what I would like is for 4 of the groups, red, yellow, orange, and gold, I want you to argue the yes on that side. Yes, you believe that using video conferencing is an effective way to learn. Okay. On the other hand, the other groups, blue, green, maroon, and purple, I want you to argue against that using video conferencing is not an effective way to learn, and why. So between now and Thursday, whenever you're reading this, certainly between Tuesday and Thursday, I'd like you to get with your groups and create a Google Doc, and so that you can share your notes. And then during our class time on Thursday, we'll take a good amount of the class time to have this debate. Okay, and the way that we'll work it is I'll break you into small groups. Into your small groups, you'll have some time to talk about the notes that you've gathered so far. You can review your Google Doc. Then we'll come back together as a full group and take 5 minutes for the 4 pro groups to argue, and then take 4 minutes for the con groups to argue, and then come back to the pro groups for rebuttal, 3 minutes for the other group for rebuttal, and then open it up to a full class discussion about their end observations of the debate. Okay, so that's going to be for Thursday. So that brings me to the end of this overview of the course. The reason for the course, the objectives of the course, the content of the course, the expectations of the course in terms of activities and grading and that sort of thing, a little bit about me, and the very first things that I'm asking you to do the little Flipgrid video introduction, get to know your other group members, and then dive into this debate. So the final thing I'll mention is that I will have a voiceover or a narrated slide set for each of the modules. In some cases, if it's really long, I could have 2 of them, but it will look just like this, and the YouTube link will be posted both in the playlist and will be available in the Canvas module. So with that, I will wish you a great rest of your day, whatever you're doing. Again, let you know how absolutely wonderful it is to have you in the class. And I very much look forward to seeing you on Tuesday, September 8th.